Today we're going to be continuing our exploration of subtracting rational numbers. So let's bring addition and subtraction together. Woohoo! Today's goals, I can find the difference between two rational numbers, and I understand how to subtract positive and negative numbers. Back since about kindergarten, you were working with adding, and you knew 2 plus 3 equaled 3 plus 2. Addition follows the commutative property. But does changing the order of the numbers in a subtraction expression change the value? You probably realize, yes, it does. 1 minus 0 equals 1, but 0 minus 1 equals negative 1. The difference of two numbers tells you how far apart they are in a number line, but it also pays attention to direction. Notice, if I tell you to do 8 minus negative 6, you can look at 8 and negative 6 on a number line, and they are 14 units apart. And 8 minus negative 6 happens to be 14. But if I subtract them in the opposite order, you get the opposite number. If I have negative 6 minus 8, they're still 14 apart on a number line, but to get from the 8 to the negative 6, you have to go negative 14. Negative 6 minus 8 is negative 14. If I ask you to find the difference between 12 and 10, I'm asking you for the math problem 12 minus 10, and you should get a value of 2. If I ask you the distance between 12 and 10, you're telling me how far apart 12 and 10 are on a number line, and this answer is still 2. The absolute value of 2 is 2. But what if I change the order? What is the difference between 10 and 12? This time I'm asking for 10 minus 12, and you should get negative 2. But if I say what's the distance between 10 and 12, 10 and 12 are still 2 apart on the number line, and notice that the absolute value of negative 2 is still 2. Some subtraction strategies that we've worked with. Today, we talked about you could find the distance between the numbers, but you have to be really careful with your sign. Is it going to be positive or negative? Or if you prefer, you can change the subtraction problem to an addition problem, adding the opposite. So let's try some practice problems on your own. You could have 8 minus negative 5. Go ahead and try to do that. You should get 13. You could change this to 8 plus positive 5, that equals 13. Or you can look on a number line, and 8 and negative 5 are 13 spaces apart. And this time, since we're going from negative 5 to 8, it's positive 13. Negative 3 minus 4, try that. Okay, you could change it to negative 3 plus negative 4, and we get a value of negative 7. Or again, you could put these numbers on the number line, negative 3 and positive 4. They're 7 spaces apart, but since we're asking ourselves, what do we add to 4 to get negative 3? That's that negative 7. And the last one, negative 8 minus negative 2. Okay, you should get an answer of negative 6. You could rewrite it, negative 8 plus 2 equals negative 6. Or again, you could put negative 8 and negative 2 on a number line. They're 6 spaces apart. But since you're going from negative 2 to get to negative 8, you have to add negative 6. All right, look at all we learned today. The difference between two numbers, it can be positive or negative. That depends on their order. So A minus B is always the opposite of B minus A. But the distance between two numbers is always positive. It doesn't depend on their order. It's always the absolute value or the magnitude of their difference. So the absolute value of A minus B equals the absolute value of B minus A. All right, I hope you're feeling a greater deal of comfort with subtraction today, and do continue to practice.